Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
I'm your host, Raju Mandhian. Here at Expat Insights, we take external views of internal successes by foreigners, expats, and immigrants who have made Philippines their home and are doing good in the Philippines, either in business or society. This Friday morning in April, I don't have foreigners, but I have global citizens, leaders of global caliber who are living and working in the Philippines and have been doing good in the Philippines. These are people from an institution called Toastmasters, and they are here today to talk to us about how leaders are made, how leaders learn through Toastmasters. My three guests today, the first one, of course, is a young, handsome gentleman here from the O&O industry, the offshore industry. His name is R.V. Villamarzo, and he's been a Toastmaster for umpteen years. Next to him, a lovely lady, Cora Oliva Rodil. She's the district PRO. Thus, if you want to dance with Toastmasters, she'll be the one to dance with you. She's been a Toastmaster for 7 years or more, and she also spent a lot of time in the U.S. doing some good work, and she's here to share and discuss how Toastmasters make leaders. And my last guest, of course, not last, but the third guest here, a gentleman called Raul de la Vega. You know, the Spanish last name. Raul de la Vega, he's a distinguished Toastmaster. That means of all the Toastmasters on this table here, he's the most distinguished. Cora is also distinguished. So they're here to talk to us about Toastmasters. Welcome to Toastmasters. Welcome to Expat Insights. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Raju.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, well, that's what I know about Toastmasters. Can you tell me a bit about what really Toastmasters is?
Yes, well, Raju, Toastmasters, it's a global organization that started in the U.S. sometime in 1924, and it made its way here to the Philippines. It's a great way for you to develop your leadership skills and communication skills. Here in the Philippines, you'd find over 150 clubs.
Clubs.
That's
okay,
right.
Okay.
So the way it works, when you get to join Toastmasters, you'll be part of that club, and then you go through a curriculum at your own pace. There are manuals on communication and leadership. Once you get to do the projects in the manuals, you get feedback, and because it's a learn-by-doing institution, you get to become better in small increments.
Toastmasters, the name. Why not speech masters or masters of leaders? Toast. Well, is it about cooking? No, right?
Not about cooking, but Arlie will explain.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't really know the origin of the name. I mean, considering that Raul said it started way back in the 1920s.
Oh, I wasn't around, yeah.
Maybe, Raul, do you know the origin of the name?
Well, you see, this was founded by a gentleman by the name of Ralph Smedley.
Right,
And
right.
at the time when he established the program, he was thinking of gentlemen having dinner together, and then towards the end, they'd have a toast and develop their speaking skills.
From the concept of a toast, as you
That's
like
right.
to greet and congratulate people. You said 160 clubs in the Philippines.
That's
Yes.
All over the Philippines. Even
That's
in
right.
Tabi, there is a Toastmasters club.
We hope so.
There is, okay. How about globally?
Globally,
Africa, Russia, China?
Well, globally, there in over 100 countries, you will find a Toastmasters club. As a matter of fact, it's also well represented in China, the Middle East. And in fact, China right now has the most Toastmasters clubs worldwide.
Wow, and this
Yes.
they just sprung up recently, or they've been around for the longest time? Do they speak in Chinese there?
Well, a lot of them speak in English. Yes, they're developing their English speaking skills as well.
So who started, RV? Who started off Toastmasters here? What's the history, or at least what's your history, personal history?
My
in
personal
this-
history.
Yeah,
Okay.
in this institution.
Well, actually, my mom just took me to one of the Toastmasters meetings when I was in school. So I was probably a high school student when I first attended a Toastmasters meeting, and I found out that people just started delivering speeches, and back then I didn't know what a speech was. But I found that it was a very encouraging atmosphere. Like, people were actually encouraging people to speak.
Right.
And when they made a mistake, they were very kind in giving feedback. And it actually gave me a chance to take a peek into this thing that we call public speaking.
Right, and this was like a couple of years ago. You said high school student.
More than 20 years ago.
High school student, and looks like you're just out of high school.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So, Cora, tell me what happens inside a regular
Toastmasters.
club meeting.
Yes. In a meeting, which is usually for an hour and a half, we have 3 sections in the meeting. We have the opening, the educational, the evaluation portion, which is really
How long is the meeting?
an hour
Usually.
and a half, usually.
Yeah, okay.
The evaluation portion is very important because that's where we give feedbacks.
What do you mean evaluation? As in, like, you give it monetary value or
No monetary value.
feedback? You mean?
Feedback.
Okay, yeah.
Because the educational portion contains the delivery of speeches and role takers. And when you're given a feedback, that's the time when you know your strengths and your weaknesses. Yes.
So you learn by
You
doing.
learn by doing.
You don't learn by just observing and listening, but you do.
And exactly what he said,
Yeah.
the atmosphere is very encouraging, inspirational, and
Right.
friendly.
Can you cite me a story of how it is encouraging, the atmosphere? Like, I mean, where do you hold your meetings? Do you hold in schools, institutions, colleges?
Well, I can talk about myself.
Right?
When I gave my first speech, which is called the icebreaker, I was trembling like crazy.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't say a thing.
Right?
And as I continued speaking, someone is assigned to do some evaluation or feedback to help you.
Take notes on how
Take
you're doing.
notes on
Okay.
how. And after I finished, the evaluation was so positive
Yeah.
that I was so encouraged to continue. Because I was about to, oh no, I will not go through this again.
Oh, wait, your background is teaching,
Yeah.
PRO. Your background is media.
I know, you wouldn't
Still,
believe
still.
it. Still, but
Oh, you
yeah,
still found value in Toastmasters.
butterflies in my stomach.
Right.
And the atmosphere, the family-friendly atmosphere
Familial, okay,
is
yeah.
really very encouraging and inspirational. So when he gave me those positive feedback,
Who? He?
yes, it was the president of a club that I joined in
Right.
Kosovo. He was so good and encouraging, and that's how I got into Toastmasters.
Right.
I was about to get out.
So, Arvi, what's been your experience? Like, how does it go about? What kind of speech? I mean, when you say icebreaker, what is that, and how do you progress? How do you learn?
Well, an icebreaker speech is, the very first speech that anyone ever delivers.
I mean, day one, you walk in and that's it? You
It could
do
be
an
day
icebreaker?
one
Yeah.
for some people. But for some people, it might take a few meetings before they actually get the
Right.
courage to deliver their first speech. So the first speech is really just an introduction, like who you are, what are your hobbies, and stuff like that. So since it's all about you, it's very easy to deliver, let's say, a very short speech about that. And going back to your question about what you mean by encouraging, I guess it's because for someone who is speaking to a group of people for the very first time, it can be very scary.
I think for most people, right?
For most people,
it
yeah.
is, yeah.
And as Cora mentioned, at the end of that speech, all of a sudden you hear people telling you, hey, you did well. The mere fact that you stood up and delivered a
So they
speech.
boost your morale
Yeah,
and they cheer you up.
Yes.
So they let you go through a scary experience with some kind of pepping up, right? Raul, quickly, how long have you been a Toastmaster?
I've been with Toastmasters since 1997.
Wow-wee.
Yes.
Wow-wee, that was the last century.
Well, what I found very good about it is that after a couple of meetings, it already improved my impromptu speaking skills.
Impromptu.
Yeah,
that's
such that I was able.
extempore, like off the cuff, yeah?
Such that I was able to apply for a job, and wow, as I spoke with the chairman of that company, he gave me the job right away, and, and a good compensation scheme.
Right, so you landed a good job because of Toastmasters
That's
back
right.
in 97. Okay, let's take a little break on this note. I want to understand how you learn and lead using this platform that you discussed, no? Right after the break. So ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to 3 Toastmasters from Philippines, and they will come back and tell us about how leaders are made in the Philippines and globally. I'm your host, Raju Mandian. Stay watching. This is Expat Insights.